Hey everybody, welcome to Comics with Bueller. As always, I am Bueller. Today we're doing another creator interview, and we got none other than Sara Frazetta. How you doing today?
So happy to be here with you, Travis. Doing
Awesome,
good.
awesome.
Hot, but good. No
Yeah,
complaints.
I'm sitting in a nice, comfortable. It's about 81 degrees, no humidity. As you can see behind me, a nice lake. I'll be jumping in there after we're done. You're sitting there. It's like
I'm,
150 with the humidity, and it's just sweating all over the place. But you're
yeah,
doing
you're
it.
gonna
You're
just see me
hanging
turn
in
into
there.
a puddle. I'm gonna turn into a puddle from tears, from jealousy, and from the heat. It'll be a combined effort.
Well, I'll tell Sara, open invitation anytime. You make it to the Pacific Northwest, let me know, and you can come hang out on our private lake, and I'll give you full access, whatever you want to do. So you're good.
Amazing. I'm gonna take you up on that because that's well, like when I just said a few minutes ago. I'm like, is that fake behind you? I've not. Very few times I'm blown away by the landscapes, and that looks like a Frazetta painting behind you.
There you go. Exactly. We're going to jump right into there. So let's talk about that right now because we're going to talk about a brand new book that just came out last week, Fire and Ice. It took 4 decades for this to happen because I believe the movie came out in 1983. And
Yep.
now we have our first issue, and I'm going to kind of throw it to you and kind of let the audience know what are we looking at here now that we have Fire and Ice in our hands, and I'm holding one right here because I just got done reading a copy. So what are we looking at right now there, Sara?
Well, we are looking at history in the making. No, I've been waiting for this for a long time too. I've been a fan of the movie Fire and Ice since I was 5 years old. Probably an inappropriate time to watch the film, but I am a Frazetta, so that's just how it happened. And
There you
I've been really eager to see something happen with the film since Robert Rodriguez announced the live action remake, and then of course that didn't happen. So once we got this all rolling and the creative team together, it was like one of those moments where I was like pretty sure my grandpa would be proud, and I was pretty sure that the fans would be really excited because there was so much potential with these characters, and to keep expanding on the world and the lore and Tigra and the backstories. So it was a really fun project to put together. It was a really a difficult task because a prequel series, you want to get that right. You don't want to go too far in the past because then Tigra would be a little girl, and I think like the whole allure of the Frazetta world is the beautiful women, the strong, beautiful men, and we
go.
didn't want to go into like a children's story, if you will. So we had to find a writer who could handle that, and that was Bill Willingham. It worked out perfectly, and then of course giving the task to an artist. It's not an easy task, but Leonardo Manco did an incredible job. We just saw a couple pages from issue 2, and I think I don't know how he's doing it, but he seems to keep getting better as it goes on. And I think I think it was just it was an intimidating task for both Bill and Manco, and they got through their anxieties. We all talked about it as a team, and I think personally, I think they made magic.
Nice. So did Dynamite approach you guys, or did you guys take this to Dynamite?
So we had been talking to Dynamite for a while. We first started working with Dynamite when we paired together Vampirella and Frazetta's depiction, because before then the family had been calling her, I think, Vampire Mistress, and it didn't make sense to us. We're like, why aren't these IPs like living together? His illustration, the intellectual property of Vampirella, they should be paired. So we had some working relationship with Nick. We did Nick Barucci of Dynamite. We did a collaboration, a Vampirella Frazetta Girls collaboration. And we had talked about doing something, but we had been already engaged with Opus for the Frazetta verse. So then we said to Nick, we're like, why don't we do something with Fire and Ice? I said, I think there's such a huge fandom behind it, and people have been waiting for so long. And I know Death Dealer is a popular character, but arguably Darkwolf might be more popular, and that's just because there's a movie made about it. My grandfather had countless interviews about who Darkwolf was and how he wanted that character to come off to the world, unlike Death Dealer. So together we talked about that, and we made it happen. I think Nick always wanted to collaborate with the Frazettas on some level, so this was just the perfect pairing.
That's awesome. Yeah, Nick has a good eye for things, and you know what? He puts it out there. He's got a lot of great properties now in the Dynamite lineup, and this is just the newest one to it. I wanted to ask you, so you know, with the writer and the artist, how much input do you have in this title?
A lot, and I thank Nick Barucci and Matt Idelson and Vincent. That I can't thank them enough, because they had that faith in Joey and I of Frazetta Girls. My mom, my mom is a tough critic, and I was like, and you know, she's one step closer to my grandfather, so sure. I know her opinion really does matter, because she's always thinking about what my grandfather would have liked. And when I first passed along the scripts to my mom, she goes, "This is it. You guys did it. Good job." It's a redemption story. She wasn't a big fan of what we did with Opus, so I had a lot to prove with this title. I'm like, "Okay, Mom, did this one make you happy?" So she was really happy. She was really pleased. But it was like one of those moments where I didn't have to. I learned a lot getting into storytelling with Opus, and it always has to come from your authentic place of like what you like, because I don't know what everyone's gonna like. We're all individuals. Art's subjective, so we do as the people, as the property that's putting it out, as the owners of the property that's putting out, we have to have the integrity to say we really, really love this and stand firm behind it. And I didn't have any anxiety when it was coming out, because I was like, this is the best that we could do. We all gave our hearts, and we hope it's received well, but we love it. So that's really the process of it was what really like was, I'll hold that with me forever, because it was just such an exciting time. Like each script that would come in from Bill, and then you'd see the character studies from Leonardo, and the pages in black and white, and all of it just piecing together. It was truly incredible.
Yeah, I was going through the artwork and stuff. Leonardo really captures the universe, and just the backgrounds and the backdrops of the book itself are just amazing. And then, like I said, I read the book as well. I really did enjoy it. I was like, oh, this is going to be a lot of fun. One thing I did want to ask you real fast, because I mean, I'm looking at these books, and I got a couple copies, and I had to go to multiple different comic shops to find these because they were sold out.
Wow, that's great
to go to. But so I found the A cover, which is the Bill Sienkiewicz cover. Okay. And then I also got the C cover, which is your grandfather's cover. Was that a conscious decision to have the C cover, your grandfather's, and not the main cover of the book?
It was, and that was really Nick's doing. He was, I think, I'm not really sure why, besides I think it was just always to support the current artists. And because Bill did such a huge favor for us, he really did not have any time in his schedule to do this cover. Yeah. And he, because of our friendship, and because of his relationship with Dynamite and his love for Frazetta, he couldn't turn it down. So, and arguably, it's just, I mean, Fire and Ice, of course, the movie poster, it's Frazetta. It's insane, but Bill Sienkiewicz, I mean, he's a living legend. He truly is. I mean, everything he does is incredible.
Well, I had to get both of them, so I couldn't, I had to have both in my collection. There's many different covers, but those two were definitely the two that I wanted to get. So this series, like you said, it's a prequel to the movie. How many issues are we looking at for this run?
6.
6 issues?
But we will have most likely spinoffs. Maybe some one-shots. I can't give any real concrete details right now about that. But I think there's, just like I said before, there's so much potential with these characters and different like action adventures we could go on, and maybe like maybe a little bit more backstory on certain characters. And I like backstories personally. I want to know them. It's like the psychological thing. I want to know everything. Why? The whys. I have so many questions. So I think we'll be doing this Fire and Ice for a while, making fans happy.
This is the beginning for the Fire and Ice universe hitting the market right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And
I saw the action figure as well. The action figure looks awesome, and I might have to pick that up.
I'm gonna send you one. I'm every show I've gone. I'm like, I gotta send a gift. It's like my way of thanking. we'll connect about that after. But thank you for saying that. I really appreciate it. This is our first figure that we put out. We made a new company, Frazetta Icon Collectibles, and really it's because we had been approaching companies for a very long time to do a Dark Wolf because the fans have been requesting it for as long as I've been doing Frazetta Girls, and no one was receiving it. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess I looked at my partner Joe and I said, I guess you have to make it. And he did. He put his head down for the last 6 months and figured it out because he's that kind of person. I love it. So we're really excited about it, and I think he's gonna make everyone really happy. I didn't really play with action figures ever. I liked Barbie, when I was growing up. But when I started playing with the Mezco Conan action figure and seeing all of like the different outfits he had, and I was like, these are way better than Barbie because of the articulation. You get to move it and bend it and make him fight, make him a fierce warrior. So yeah, really exciting. And then we just put out the role-playing game 22 minutes ago on Kickstarter. So
nice.
Yeah, so that will be, we have a bunch of Fire and Ice miniatures and a lot of stretch goals that are really fun for the property as well.
There you go. I'll put that link down below if anyone's watching this right now that wants to jump on that Kickstarter campaign. We'll go ahead and put that link down there. Like she said, it just went live, so you'll get on it first thing. And you know what? This Fire and Ice, that's just one piece of the puzzle. This Frazetta universe, whatever you want to call it, is massive. There's decades of just artwork and fantasy and all this stuff. And I kind of want to shift gears a little bit, and I want to ask about you real fast, because let's be honest, you're now kind of the face of the current Frazetta. Okay, you're the one out there doing all the interviews and doing all this stuff and representing what your grandfather did. How are you with all the, I mean, there's got to be pressure on you. Like you just stated a little bit earlier about your mother, about you had a thing with Opus. She didn't like it that much. It sounds like you kind of redeemed yourself with Fire and Ice, it sounds like, which is great. But
for Mom,
the pressure's on your shoulders. And you're a workhorse. I mean, I read somewhere where you had 4 jobs at one time. And so how are you doing with that? I just want to say thank you for taking on this massive amount of, just the legacy, but you're handling it very well. And how are you doing with that yourself?
Well, thank you. I mean, I appreciate that. And I mean, I just was born really ambitious. Like I worked since I could work. As soon as I think we're 14 years old, you have to work or you can work. So as soon as I could legally go get a job, that's what I did. And I always just kind of put myself into the uncomfortable places because I just know that that's how you grow. So it's pretty simple. But I think a lot of the growing happened with, unfortunately, my foundation coming apart with family trouble. And when you have to deal with that kind of heartbreak, when your own family is not happy for you and they're angry and they want to fight you, it rattles everything inside of me. It did. It was like, wow, I thought I didn't think it would turn out like this, but it was like a really humbling moment of when you get through that and you can kind of mend your heart from that heartbreak. All the other pressure doesn't seem so bad. It's like these things. With business, you're gonna always have to put out some fires. You're always gonna have to have stress, deadlines, but it's like the things that really matter in life. And when those things fall apart, you just become, for me at least, like my skin keeps getting thicker. And then having to deal with some pretty crazy lawsuits early on and going through that stress of going, I have to put out how much money a month? And then you don't have a choice. You just have to work a lot harder because you don't get to say, nah, I don't want to participate in this lawsuit and pay that. You don't have a choice. So it's all of those things have really helped build my character. And now I just really don't fear anything as much anymore. It's like, as long as you have your health and some really great people in your life that you can call family, and then some family members that did stick around, it's nothing to really worry about. So I just think that it's like it's priorities, keeping things in your head of like what truly matters, and all of this is just fun, and it's for the fans, and so.
Well, it sounds like you've kind of went through the really dirty part of it, and you're coming out the tail end where the light's a little brighter, and
Yeah,
from what you're kind of saying. So that's good to know that there's more positive stuff on the horizon than negative stuff. At least that's kind of what I'm hearing from you, which is great. But really, like I said, I want to thank you. I look up Sara Frazetta online, and you are everywhere. You are literally everywhere. It's like boom, 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 boom. It's like just nonstop, and that's a lot of work. Like I said, that you are now the public face of this Frazetta universe, promoting it right now. It's your grandfather's work. We all know that, but someone has to be out there, providing that work to the masses, and that's what you're doing. And we are very lucky to have that, because his artwork is legendary. I mean, it's inspired.
Yeah, like I said, it was a responsibility, really. It's like I can't, even though it was tough, and we did go through really dark times, and I'm sure there's going to be many more dark times, because that's life. But it's like this is I do feel it's like it was my fate to have to come into this legacy business, and I've said it many times before, but it's not something I ever thought I would be doing. I really did. I was around my grandfather. I know how much people loved him, but he was a very humble guy. He didn't talk much about his fame at all. He was like, he lived somewhere where like you're at right now. It's like very picturesque, just secluded, beautiful property. And that's what he liked to do. He liked to just be by himself and be in nature. So when everything, when I look at it from like the outside in, I'm like, wow, okay, this was all part of God's plan to have me doing this. And I feel really blessed to have the opportunity to do this.
Well, let me just tell you, I mean, you already know this, but your grandfather would be very proud. And
thank you.
Because like I said, you do a wonderful job. But let's talk a little bit more about the man himself. You look at your grandfather, like, man, that's a man. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
He's from the greatest generation, as they're called. Okay. Fit as a fiddle.
Yep.
Yeah. Just like a Mount Rushmore of a man type thing. And I've seen him, and I've seen the interviews by him, and like, even if you didn't even know he was an artist, you'd know he was an artist.
Absolutely.
But
absolutely.
As a child, because I know that he passed away years ago and stuff, and your memory of him, just seeing him. I never met my grandfather. He passed away before I was born. But I look at my father, and I'm actually at my father's house right now, and I just look at him, and I see that generation. I see that guy just. My dad said maybe some of the people from this generation couldn't punch their way out of a paper bag, and he said that to me, and I go, I think you might be right. But
he's right.
It's a whole different world. But growing up, you saw that as well. I take it, correct?
Absolutely. And I think to myself frequently, oh man, what would my grandfather think of the current world? He'd be very unhappy. Yeah. I think he'd stay even more secluded. But he was, like you said, I didn't get to experience that side of Frazetta when he was completely in his youth and strong and athletic, because he did have health issues starting at the age of 58 years old. So he was sick. I think it was like he got sick a little, like 2 years before I was born. He didn't get really sick until 1996. And, I was 8 years old by then. So I did have some time with him where I remember him being that just very charismatic, man's man, but also again, like we can't put men in boxes. He had a very emotional side to him, which is why he was able to create the art that he created. I mean, we're I think sometimes people forget, like, we're humans. We're all humans, despite what we are with our genders. So my grandfather was just like a very emotionally intelligent human being, who just knew how to really live life to the fullest by embracing his masculinity and having this, like, you know, he always said he was an enigma because he was like, he was a well-rounded person. When he said an enigma, is because he was able to be in touch with, like, the feminine side and that masculine side, and just, like, give you 100% from both of them, which is a very balanced person who people are drawn to. And he was, I mean, when I saw the interview of him from Writers of the Future, and he was in that tuxedo talking for 7 minutes.
Yeah,
I looked at my mom and I looked at my mom and I said, I am so jealous that you got to be around that version of Grandpa for so long.
Yeah.
Because he was just so freaking cool. And he was really funny. Like, even when he wasn't able to articulate well because of his thyroid issues and his dementia, he was still funny. And my mom said back when he was younger and everything, I mean, he was just, like, real witty and just always on, the brain just always going, and just, again, that the greatest generation, they went through really hard times. I mean, what I say now is, like, my hard times are, like, emotional and sometimes money. Like, theirs was, they didn't get to eat if they weren't, you know, making money. Like, it was do or die. And that struggle just made them have the mindset to kind of get through anything. Like, and we really do need that back a bit, where we can kind of say, you know what, it's not that bad. I mean, it's hot where I'm at right now. I'm in my sunroom, but I have an AC right into I mean, how could we say we're living in the worst times? We're definitely not. We're very, very lucky. So I think that generation, they had come, you know, from the Great Depression. They knew how bad it could get. And so my grandparents, they still, every day, they inspire me, the way that they thought. And I have to kind of click and go, okay, go back to that mindset. Try to get back there.
Yeah, I remember watching that interview and seeing your grandfather in that tuxedo, and I'm like, man, that's a Rat Pack guy right there. He's so
cool.
He was very cool is the word to use before. Some of his creations, obviously, let's talk about those. Death Dealer, being probably one of the most popular, if not the most popular one. I was curious because he did a painting or a drawing or whatever. Okay, put that out, became famous, iconic with the Death Dealer on the horse, and then wrote books about that and stuff. Novels came out just from that one drawing, and other people wrote that. Was your grandfather like, I need to read these? I mean, was he into, like, making sure that they were the direction? Because he drew the picture, he drew the character, designed the character. Did he already think of a backstory where this character's coming from, or was he okay with the liberties these authors took?
Of course, he was a masterful storyteller with his art, but he was not a writer. And he did need assistance to be able to tell the story with words. And from what I've heard, he did like James Silkey's novels, but when they weren't received very well, he said he didn't like them. and I think, but I also think, knowing my grandfather, that he probably wasn't very involved with the process. Yeah. Just because he'd rather be out golfing, playing baseball, he wasn't really a reader. He watched films, but he watched his, I said this a couple days ago, his 5 films on repeat. And I think that was an anxiety coping mechanism. But I didn't know that. I do the same thing. And I'm like, because we really like stuff. And people are like, no, it's because you have anxiety. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, it's a combination of the two. So I don't think he was, like, so involved where he was taking weekly calls with James Silkey or Glenn Danzig. I think he just kind of overviewed it and said, okay, approved. It's good. I think it was just, if he would have sat down and had, like, conscious thoughts of like where he wanted it to go, he would have been able to be a little bit more insightful from what he wanted. But he did do that with Fire and Ice. I mean, after Fire and Ice came out, he was able to look at it through a critical eye and say, well, we should have done this, but the budget, and if I could do it again. And he gave a lot of insight through interviews. Yeah. But I still think to this day, it's like Death Dealer just hasn't been done like he should have been done. And it's a hard character to nail down. But on the other side of the coin, I'm happy that our writers are able to put their interpretation out to the world. And some people really loved the Glenn Danzig series. Some people really loved the Silky novels. Some people really loved the Opus interpretation by Mitch Iverson. Some people really love the Image comics. So it's like, it's you want to get the definitive story, but you also want to have the art inspire writers and continue on in that sense too. So I think it's an interesting journey seeing the writers come and interpret his art.
So there's still some work to be done for Death Dealer for the definitive story that you want to see, is what I'm hearing.
Definitely.
Okay. So any clues on when that might happen?
Soon. I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna pass away soon or something, but I have this flame inside of me lately that it's like move. Like, I don't know if like maybe all of us, it's gonna end soon with this alien thing. I don't know. But something in me is really making me work quicker towards the goals. I'm not gonna be complacent. I feel like there's not enough time. So whatever that means. So soon.
Well, I picked up some of the Death Dealers. I picked up the David Mack exclusive cover.
The covers were beautiful. Yeah, the covers were insane. Yeah.
And then one of my friends, Joe Doyle, did a exclusive for issue 5 or 4, I believe. And he's a Florida guy.
It ended up on issue 5. Yep. Yeah. Joe. Shout out Joe Doyle. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a very good guy. Last time I was in Tampa, we went out on his boat and kind of went swimming. We went to Beer Can Island. I don't know if you're familiar with that place.
I still haven't been there yet, but I know exactly where it is. Yeah, that's awesome. That's a fun day.
It was a great day. If somebody fell off the boat, we did go pick them up, but it was good. So
too many beers on Beer Can Island.
Not me. It was them. But yeah, the Death Dealer character rings a bell, and when I sit there and I look at the artwork and stuff like that, and I could see where people could just go, it's just like a huge universe, just an interesting character. Just the eyes alone, just the eyes that are piercing at you as soon as you look at that artwork. It's like, wow, that's an interesting character. Let's kind of go somewhere else really quick. When we met, I'm curious to see what your opinion is on this now. Obviously, your grandfather is known for his artwork for Conan. And Conan has kind of jumped around from different properties and ownership or whatnot and stuff like that. Would you like to see Conan like in your hands? Wouldn't that be a wonderful thing?
You know, we have a really good relationship with Conan properties, and I think I just read Conan issue number 1, and I think they did a really great job. So I think they're heading in the right direction now, and I think it has to go back to like the core of the storytelling. Why people loved it was because they were Robert E. Howard stories. So it's like if you can stay close to that, and then have that Frazetta likeness, because that's the best depiction of Conan. I think you'll have a gold mine there. So I love to see some crossovers. I think we might be able to get that going eventually. But yeah, I mean, it's funny to see us both kind of taking little stabs at the properties at the same time, and like kind of going through this journey together. And then hopefully we'll be at the right place in the right time, and then we can merge together and make fans really happy, because that would be, I mean, imagine Conan and Death Dealer together. That'd be awesome somehow.
That'd be very nice. I would definitely be picking that up for sure.
Yeah.
So this is kind of a fun question, and this actually just happened to me the other day when I went to go buy a copy of Fire and Ice. What is the most elaborate tattoo somebody showed you from your dad's artwork? because, man,
Oh my God.
I went into this comic shop, bought the Fire and Ice book, and the guy's like, "Oh yeah, I'm a big Frazetta fan," and he literally has the Death Dealer tattooed all the way up the side of his torso and stuff, and he took his shirt off to show me right there in public. I was like, "Oh yeah, that's
oh
great."
yeah. I mean, their body is a canvas now. They have to show it off. I mean, I've seen so many tattoos of Frazetta, but I've in the last, I don't know, couple years, I've also been getting DMs, not much. And sometimes I'll go to a convention or a tattoo shop and I'll see it in person. But
yeah,
my friend Carl, he probably has the most insane Frazetta tattoo mashup on his body. He has Cackerel, I believe it's across his chest, or maybe it's on his back. I think he has Dark Kingdom. His whole body is Frazetta art. So when you dedicate your entire body to Frazetta, I have to say you win. I mean, you get the whole side, but then, like I said, there's another level. Then someone has it here. I have yet to see it like on the face and the neck. So maybe when I see it like up from head to toe Frazetta painting, that will be the winner.
Have you ever seen a Ringo Starr tattoo of your dad's or grandfather's artwork?
I don't think I have. Have you?
No, I haven't. I'd like to know.
Okay.
The famous
Come forward. Yeah, that'd be
great.
Interesting.
Yeah. Elaborating on that a little bit, when your grandfather did the artwork for the Ringo Starr for the Man magazine, he kind of got a bunch of movie poster deals after that, and did a bunch of movie posters. Do you have any favorite of the movie posters? You said that your grandfather likes to watch movies and stuff like that. Did he have a favorite as well?
I don't know if he had a favorite movie poster he did. I remember him with the Gauntlet. He liked working with Clint Eastwood, but he did 5 rough works of the Gauntlet, and he presented them all to Clint. And he told my grandma, he goes, they're going to pick, Clint's going to pick the worst one, my least favorite one. My grandma's like, well, then why did you put that in with the other rough works? Which is a very valid question. She's like, don't put your least favorite in and make him pick the one you like. Anyway, lo and behold, he picked his least favorite. And then my grandpa was, working on the least favorite movie poster. He didn't like movie posters just because he didn't have the creative freedom, like a paperback where he got to do whatever he wanted. But my favorite one is the night they raided the Minskys. I think that one's so cool with the showgirls, and they're all like, all the girls are just hanging off. And I think my grandfather was an incredible costume designer. When I looked at the outfits that he made, I'm like, man, he could have totally done costume designing. I mean, how did he come? Like some of the clothing, I'm like, I want to wear that shirt. I want to wear that dress. That's so cute. Maybe one day. That's actually a goal. Before I get too old and it looks ridiculous wearing those sorts of outfits, I need to make a Frazetta costume line.
There you go. Well, I think if you're making a movie poster for Clint Eastwood, that has to be your favorite.
I mean, I mean, that's so cool. I mean, George Lucas wanted him to do the Star Wars movie poster, but my grandfather was just so famous at the time that he just declined George Lucas, where I'm like, Grandpa, I wish you would have done that one. I really do. I'm like,
it launched something pretty big right there. So yeah, that
would have been a great history, but
Very
It
nice.
is what it is.
Yeah, he did all right without that, so it turned out okay. I got a couple of true or false questions to ask you real fast.
Okay.
And let's see how you do. I mean, you should know this, probably, right? Okay. True or false, your grandfather could paint and draw with both hands?
True.
True. There you go. Slave Leia's costume was inspired by your grandfather's art?
True.
Nice. And your grandfather was a gamer?
True.
True. Will you elaborate on that one for me?
So he had the original Nintendo 65. Was it, or was it not? It wasn't 65. The original Nintendo.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite memories of my grandfather. He really was a gamer because of the grandkids, but I know he did enjoy the games himself, the original Mario and Icebreakers and gosh, what are the other ones? There were a lot. There were a lot of just all. Basically, we had like all the original games. But do you remember when you put those the cartridges in? They'd always get the dust, and then they wouldn't work. Yeah. So my grandpa would have it, and I'll use my phone. He would do this. He'd be like, and then he'd be. I'm like, Grandpa, you're getting spit in it now. And he's like, he was just so hell bent on getting these games to work. But gosh, the the trials we used to have to go through to get something to work with technology. But my grandpa would just, he got a thrill of just watching us play most of us, when we were gaming with my grandfather, we weren't that good. So it would just be like him watching us do the same level over and over and over again. And he got a kick out of it. But yeah, he was an OG guy. So he never advanced his systems. It was just Nintendo.
Yeah. Well, the retro games are in right now. That's what people want to play, is all the old retro stuff, which is a lot of fun. Yeah, I used to have to blow on the cartridge and then take an eraser, a pencil eraser, and then you rub that over the little microchip, whatever you call it. And
we never did that.
Hopefully it would work.
That would have been better. We didn't know that trick, Travis. We had no idea.
It was both. It was a double whammy. You had to do both. So
okay. That's why the blowing, it just took so long. You're just sitting there. Unbelievable.
Sarah, let's go ahead and wrap it up here. This has been a lot of fun. I want to remind everyone, Fire and Ice is on the shelves right now. Issue 1 has just came out, I believe, last Wednesday, about a week ago. Like I said, I had a hard time tracking it down, and I finally found a couple copies at 2 different shops. If you're looking to get it, you can always go through previews and order it and add it to your pull list, or tell your local comic shop to order more copies of this book. And I do believe on your website, Frazetta Girls, correct? Do you have some exclusive copies on there?
We do. We have an exclusive cover, Dark Wolf, and we have quite a few of those left. The bundles are declining. We're selling quickly. Yeah. But yeah, definitely, I encourage everyone to first and foremost call your local comic shop, get them to order some copies. I mean, I think we might be doing a second printing soon. It's going well, so stand by.
Very nice. Sarah, did you want to say anything to the audience before we go here real quick?
I just want to thank everyone for the support, and it's the fans who propel us forward and fund all these incredible things that are being done now. So I just want to thank everyone for loving Frazetta so much. And if it weren't for the fans, I would still just see Grandpa as Grandpa. I wouldn't be a huge fan myself now. I've learned so much from everyone. So I just want to thank the community for embracing us and welcoming us in, and the love. And you, Travis, thank you. Appreciate you.
Thank you. And I also, just real quick, wanted to give a quick shout out to Jeff, the Cantonese comic kid who introduced us. Because if I didn't bring up, maybe give me a hard time. So thank you, Jeff.
Oh, yeah. We love you, Jeff.
Everybody, to Sarah and everything. And
Jeff's the biggest fan ever. Like, I love, I gotta love it. He's so passionate. It's amazing.
Yeah, I rode in the car with him from Tampa to Orlando, and he got to share all that with us. So yes, he is. So,
yes, anyway, he
is. Sarah, thanks again. Appreciate you coming on. I want to say thank you, everyone who's watching, and we'll put that Kickstarter information in the link down below. So check that out. If you want to jump on that, you can. And you know what, guys? Appreciate your time. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and don't forget to live your best life. You guys know what to do. We'll see you next time. Bye.